It's 5:39 p.m. on November 24th, 1971. Northwest Flight 305 has just touched down at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, but something is very wrong. The flight from Portland should have been a simple 30-minute hop. Instead, just before landing, the captain came over the intercom claiming they were experiencing technical difficulties. In reality, they were buying time. Time to gather 4 parachutes and $200,000 in ransom money for the quiet man sitting in seat 18E. After nearly 2 hours of circling, the plane finally landed and rolled to an isolated corner of the runway, exactly as the Skyjacker demanded. Once the passengers were released, authorities handed over the ransom. The man accepted it calmly, refueled the aircraft, and ordered the crew back into the air. About an hour later, somewhere over the stormy forests of Washington, he opened the rear stairs and vanished into the night. All he left behind was a black tie, a few Raleigh cigarette butts, and one of the greatest mysteries in American history. This is the story of Dan Cooper, or as the world came to know him, D.B Cooper. That was the night D.B Cooper vanished, but our story doesn't start with a jump. It starts hours earlier in Portland. A few hours before the flight from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington, D.B Cooper bought a one-way ticket to Seattle with a $20 bill using the alias Dan Cooper. Really quickly, I would like to mention that the majority of the clips seen in this video, like the one just shown, are from the National Geographic episode, The Skyjacker That Got Away, D.B Cooper. Now let's continue with the video. After D.B Cooper bought the plane ticket, he boarded the plane and joined the other 35 passengers and 6 crew members in waiting for the plane to depart. Now, in 1971, there were no security checks or really anything of the sort on domestic flights.
So in 1971, it was possible to board an airplane carrying a gun, carrying a bomb, carrying knives, carrying weapons. Nobody checked.
This man is John Detlor, a retired special agent who was in the original case of the skyjacking. D.B Cooper was dressed like a normal businessman. A suitcase, black suit and tie, and dark sunglasses blocking the sight of his eyes. While waiting for the plane to depart, a stewardess by the name of Florence Schaffner takes his drink, which was a, quote, bourbon and 7 on the rocks, which is one way to order a bourbon and soda, a largely popular drink at the time. After the plane departed around 2:58 p.m., D.B Cooper went to hand Florence an envelope. At first, Florence believed that D.B Cooper was flirting with her because she had received many envelopes from businessmen as an attempt to pick her up or simply give her their number. So Florence just slipped the note into her pocket, and it wasn't until later when D.B Cooper leaned over again and told her to open the note that she realized what his intentions really were. The note reads, "Miss, I have a bomb in my briefcase, and I want you to sit by me." The stewardess, Florence Schaffner, asks the man if he is serious, and he says yes. D.B Cooper showed Tina Bucklow and Florence Schaffner what appeared to be a bomb neatly packed in his suitcase. He threatened to blow up the plane while holding 2 barrel wires next to each other unless his demands were met. The hijacking was relayed to the control tower, and the FBI were immediately notified. While the FBI were on their way to the airport, Cooper and the stewardess were busy writing down Cooper's demands. He wanted $200,000 placed in a knapsack, 4 parachutes, 2 main back chutes, and 2 safety front chutes. The notes were taken up to the cockpit to be relayed to the authorities, and not that long later, Cooper would demand them back. Back on the ground, Seafirst Bank in Seattle was notified of this skyjacking. They provided the $10,000 $20 bills with pre-recorded serial numbers needed to cover the hefty $200,000 demand. D.B Cooper was calm. He was sipping a bourbon and soda, and he smoked through almost half a pack of Raleigh cigarettes. Florence Schaffner would even later say that the man seemed nice. When the plane landed in a remote part of the runway, Cooper was handed the 23-pound knapsack of cash and the 4 parachutes. The passengers, who still didn't have a clue what was happening, exited the plane. 2 attendants were also released from the plane, one of whom was Florence Schaffner. The plane is then refueled. As they are departing from the airport, Cooper demands that they fly at 10,000 feet, around 200 miles per hour, and have the flaps and landing gear down. D.B Cooper wanted to go to Mexico City, but there was not enough fuel for the plane to make it all the way there. Instead, the captain offered Reno or Phoenix. D.B Cooper decided to go to Reno. At 7:42 p.m., as Air Force jets circled the plane, Dan Cooper demanded that Tina Mucklow join the rest of the crew in the cockpit. As she turned around to close the door, Tina noticed Cooper tying something around his waist. What it was isn't exactly known, but she believed he was attaching the money bag to himself. 8:02 p.m., the cockpit receives a notification that the aft stairway door has just been opened. Cooper would soon jump, and after that, he would never be seen or heard from again. Before we get into the conspiracies as to what could have happened to Dan Cooper, I want to go over a few things first. Now, in this video so far, you may have heard me say Skyjacker a few times. During the golden age of skyjacking, or 1968 to 1972, 130 planes in the US alone were hijacked. This caused metal detectors, reinforced cockpit doors, and even just stricter security measures in general. Due to this large amount of hijacked planes, people thought it should have its own name, and that is how we got Skyjacker. The other thing is Dan Cooper's name itself. Now, like stated earlier, there wasn't much security, so you could just write down any name you wanted on your plane ticket and get straight on the plane. So with that information, first off, we don't even know if the man's name is Dan Cooper, and second off, in 1971, a United Press International, or UPI story, mixed up the initials and put D.B Cooper instead of Dan Cooper. Even though the FBI tried to fix this mistake, it was catchy, and eventually everybody was calling this skyjacker D.B Cooper. Now, let's get on to the theories of what could have happened to Cooper. The fun part. Now, the biggest, and in my opinion, the proper theory in this scenario is that D.B Cooper died. Just look at it like this. He jumped at night in a storm that was over rough, forested land with parachutes you couldn't steer. And to top it off, he most likely landed in the Columbia River or a tributary, which were freezing at the time, depleting his chance of survival. Now, he might have lived, which is unlikely, but still possible. The largest case for this was in February of 1980, when an 8-year-old boy named Ingram discovered $5,800 worth of $20 bills on the Tina Bar of the Columbia River in Washington, matching the serial numbers of some of the bills given to Cooper. People also think that after he landed, he lived under a new identity in a different country, likely Mexico, because he originally wanted to go to Mexico before he jumped out. That is all I have for today. I really appreciate you guys watching. Sorry for the delay. I've been working really hard on this. This is easily my biggest and my most proud video yet. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and share the video. And if you want to support me and my future to help me continue to do this, because I'm getting to that age where I gotta start spending money, donate to the channel if you enjoy and if you want to keep seeing my videos. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Day or night. Have a good one.